Hello everyone, and welcome to Magnus Carlsen versus Levon Aronian, the only game we haven't seen from round 8 of the 2013 Candidates Tournament, but before we start with the game, we do have one pop quiz question, so here it is. I will just show it to you, and I hope you immediately know what it is. So here it is. Now, I hope at least 50% of you know that those were the final standings of the 1959 Candidates Tournament. And why are you seeing this now? We'll get back to this after the game. And we do have a couple of photos from this round. Here we have photographers photographing Carlsen, and Aronian is just arriving at the board. Here another photo of photographers photographing Carlsen and Aronian. Those two are the leaders in round 8, and of course everyone wants a photo of them. That photo will of course get the most clicks, so it makes perfect sense. Here we have a nice photo from the opening, and well, there's nothing odd about the photo. Aronian does have a thermos bottle stashed to the right of him. And we do have a nice photo of Carlsen and Gelfand staring at obviously what appears to be someone's position. Perhaps Ivanchuk's, but you know, we can never know. So I do hope you enjoyed those. Now let's see this game. C4. So Carlsen opens the game with the English. Knight to f6, we have knight to f3. Let me just dim that sound so we don't have double sounds, as I did make that blunder in a couple of other videos. E6, g3, and d5. Bishop to g2, bishop to e7, d4, we have castles, and d captures on c4. Queen to c2, attacking the c4 pawn, and here we have a6. You could defend this with b5, but you can never really defend it. So for newer players, I would, if you already capture on c4 in any variation, you definitely don't want to defend it with b5. You'll only get into trouble. White will always undermine this with a4, and then if you insist on defending it, then simply White will capture, and you will get into a lot of trouble. For example, now there's an open attack from the bishop to your rook, and there's really no way to prevent the bishop captures rook. So whatever you play, you're going to be down the exchange. So hope that a little bit of information was useful for you. In the game, a6 was played by Aronian. We have queen captures on c4, b5, and queen back to c2. Bishop to b7, bishop to d2, bishop to d6, a3, knight b to d7, and b4 now. And here, Aronian could go for let's say an adventurous move with e5, and after captures, d captures on e5, knight captures, let's say bishop to c3, and now bishop to e4, attacking the queen. It would be an interesting position, but it's very thoroughly analyzed, and there's really nothing here for either side. So Aronian came prepared for this game. He plays a very strong engine line. He plays rook to a7, and this is very strong. Carlsen continues with knight to c3, queen to a8, and immediately Carlsen exchanges the light square bishops. Knight to h4, bishop captures, knight captures, and now c6. If you're interested, there will be a link in the description below where you can check out an interview from the press conference. You know, there's Carlsen answers a couple of questions, then Aronian answers a couple of questions. They discuss this c6 move. Carlsen says that he never really even considered this move, and Aronian says that well, he was prepared with this move, and there's really nothing for white here. So rook a to c1, we have a5, knight to e4, and now knight to e4. Queen captures on e4, and now rook to c8. Knight to f4, maybe threatening knight captures on e6 in some variations, but definitely not momentarily. A captures on b4, and now, of course, you do have to at least check, can you capture on e6? If you can, maybe it would be a good idea. Of course, in this position, I hope all of you see that it doesn't work. I mean, maybe black could even capture the knight, but he doesn't even have to. He can simply go rook here, simply pin the knight, and here you would grab a couple of pawns for your piece, but after rook captures, rook to c8 check, and bishop captures on b4, bishop captures, pawn captures. You would, for example, have two pawns for the piece, but in the long run, black would win this endgame. So after a captures on b4, we have bishop captures on b4. A captures on b4 doesn't really work. Black will easily infiltrate, and then white could only get in trouble. So after a captures on b4, bishop captures on b4 was played. C5 now. Queen captures on a8, rook captures on a8, and pawn captures on c5. Bishop captures, and now knight to d3. Bishop to f8. Rook captures, and now rook to b1. Either bishop will capture, and then after rook captures, the rook will already be attacking the b-pawn, or bishop will capture, and then, well, Carlsen would definitely enjoy capturing the b-pawn. But rook to a8, now if the bishops come off the board, then the a-pawn will come under attack. Bishop captures, king captures, and now Carlsen, there's really no better move to play here. So here Carlsen simply captures the pawn. Rook captures, and now we have g4. H6, h4, and rook to a2. And if you look at this position, if you remember from round 1, where Aronian had the white pieces, it's a pretty similar position to the one they had in round 1 of the 2013 Candidates Tournament. The one, if you remember, when where the pawns shaped a heart. Not really drawing a heart here, but it was in the thumbnail, so maybe you remember it. So it's even possible to create such a position from here, but they don't go for it. They play king f1, rook checks, king goes back, rook a2, and here it was around this position because the players don't really remember at which point this was. Aronian offered the draw, but Carlsen actually refused the draw in this position. He said he refused it for no reason. He just thought it was maybe a good idea to play on. So king to f3, now rook to a3, king to g3, rook a2, e3, rook to d2, knight to f4, g6, g5. There's really nothing to do here. Captures, king e7, e4, rook to c2, f3, rook c5, rook captures, knight captures, and after knight to g2, finally in this position on move 41, so the time control has been reached, they decided to draw this game. So yeah, that's, you know, it's not the most exciting game, but I mean, it's a very strong game between two leaders of the tournament. Even though at the time this game was played, the commentators did kind of call it a snooze fest. But that's exactly the reason why I've shown you the final standings of the 1959 Candidates Tournament. Here, as you can see, and of course, because of your vast knowledge, you all know this. Mikhail Tal won the tournament with 20 points ahead of Paul Keres. He was 1.5 points ahead of Paul Keres, while he didn't actually have good results against Paul Keres. Rather, here you can see that Carlsen and Aronian drew both of their games, and in the 1959 Candidates Tournament, Keres even had a positive result against Mikhail Tal. But Mikhail Tal had better results against some of the weaker players in the tournament. So it's something that will usually happen in a tournament. You will not necessarily beat the one who is trying to you know, catch up to you, but rather you will just beat the weaker players more severely. So yeah, that's why I thought it was a nice comparison to show this, and it's always nice to remember the final standings of the 1959 Candidates Tournament. So yeah, and after seeing all this, we saw all the photos. Now it's time to check out the standings after round 8 of the 2013 Candidates Tournament. So here it is. We have Carlsen and Aronian still tied in first place, 5.5 points both. Vladimir Kramnik is now in third place after his victory over Peter Svidler with 4.5. Then we have Grishuk with 4. Gelfand after his very nice victory with 3.5. Svidler once again with 3.5. Rajabov with 3, and Vasily Ivanchuk with 2.5 points, still in last place. So yeah, with this we conclude round 8 of the 2013 Candidates Tournament. I do hope you enjoyed it, and tomorrow we return to this tournament with round 9 and some very interesting games, photos, and hopefully stories. So yeah, as usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon with another game. Thank you all.